talk into the. You're talking into the top. You don't want to sort of like talk into the front. If you have the heart one, there you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Here we are.
Oh, we're live. Oh, geez. Oh man, people are seeing behind the music here.
East Coast Pod.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I got the old mic here, which I keep stored at my parents' house, so I don't have to travel it back and forth.
You should keep the headset one from.
I wish.
Before this. Yeah.
I think I spiked that into sort of Office Space style.
In the desert,
destroying your
lot.
yeah
that
kind of deal.
Can you turn it down like another half?
Another click.
Yes.
Yeah, another click.
How's this?
Better.
Yeah.
Okay. CJ always keeping me fucking in check.
I need to prove to people that I do something here, because every now and then there's that stray comment of like,
What does CJ do?
What is this guy here for?
Do?
Well, they should. If we should show them the number of emails I've copied you on for the lottery party, and then they can find out what you do. Yeah. Poor CJ, 6:20 in the morning as I'm checking stuff off my list. Here, meet CJ.
And to keep it ominous, I did fulfill that request that you had in that email this morning.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Request fulfiller.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ominous.
It's not even that ominous, but
hit
it's
the
funny.
message boards. What's CJ talking about?
What's he talking about? Are they quitting the pod? Is Mike quitting the pod?
Is it Hinky?
Still, every time I catch up with my dad and he asks about the pod, his first question is like, "So the process is over. How long the pod's gonna go for?"
Forever.
I'm like,
yeah. Fuck off, everyone.
Not now.
Now I want to keep doing it just to spite people.
Despite CJ's dad. Wow.
Yeah. Well.
Get his ass.
Yeah. It's funny when I'm talking.
Does your dad listen?
Yeah. He'll hear this.
It's funny when this is how long we've been doing the pod, how old I am now. You know, when I'm talking to your dad, Mike, that's a dad. When I'm talking to CJ, I feel like, am I older than your dad? I'm talking like a contemporary. It's fucking feels psychotic, actually.
How old's your dad, CJ?
Makes me feel old.
He's 50. What year is it? 2025. He's turning 59 this year. So
well, then he's
58.
much older than me. It's not even close. He looks good for his age.
He'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
Spike, my dad and your dad are a year apart because they both went to Northeast.
I didn't know they were a year apart. I must have assumed your dad went to Northeast. I just didn't.
We talked about it when he was on the podcast.
Right. The Father's Day episode. COVID Father's Day.
Yeah.
Happy
Mother's Day, by the way.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day. Well, we should do it in the pod. Do you want to do it in the pod?
It's all pod to me.
Okay. Well, that part's not in the pod. From this point on, it's in the pod. Happy Mother's Day.
This is an official Mother's Day podcast.
Yes, official Mother's Day podcast. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by Draftkings Sportsbook. Sign up for Draftkings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. And brought to you by LL Pavorsky Jewelers, where Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners go and get engaged. Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Get yours at bigbarker.com/Ricky. And Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. 2 grams of sugar, 100 calories, and no carbonation, because iced tea should not have bubbles. On the show today, we talk about the podcast we did with Daryl Morey, what he said. We weren't able to talk about him right when he was there. So said some things that were interesting. Well, I guess we could. He wouldn't have minded, but it just would have been so much longer. So we're talking about that. The NBA playoffs continue as the Celtics are down 2-0 to the Knicks. And in this bag right here, I have 14 ping pong balls with 14 little brothers.
Wow.
And we will figure out, we'll do this when we do it, but there's numbers on all of them. And we will figure out who is being sacrificed at the lottery party and Live Ricky 6, as this is our final pod before we do a live show we never thought we would have to do. Surfside, iced tea and vodka is going to be flowing at the lottery party. I'm going to be honest. I was on an email with some folks over at Stayside. I'm going to protect their, not everybody wants their name read on the pod, but I was like, you better have a lot of Surfside there. And I said, our people love doing the stuff that we tell them to do. And if we tell them to drink Surfside, that's what they're going to do. So have a lot of Surfside there. And there will be a lot of Surfside at Franklin Music Hall. I don't know what options. I don't know if we're going to have the mango tea and vodka. We'll certainly have the standard Surfside iced tea and vodka. Maybe the lemonade and vodka. It all only has 100 calories. It all only has 2 grams of sugar. None of it has any bubbles in it because it's iced tea. Iced tea should not have bubbles. You got to be 21 to enjoy it. Please do that responsibly. Without any further ado, Amos and the chef.
We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. Say the name.
Forever.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Geskin, along with a guy on the East Coast. Is he in his teenage bedroom? We'll find out soon. That is one Mike Levin.
I'm in my nephew's dorm room, which is at my parents' house.
Oh, right. You did explain that once.
Yes, his freshman year is over. I think he leaves tomorrow. And so I'm doing a podcast from his bedroom. I got just various 19-year-old stuff around.
What is 19-year-old stuff?
Starburst, just the pinks.
Oh, poor decision. That is
I agree with that. I think
weird Gen Z decision that is.
You got to mix it up, and I prefer the reds.
I prefer the reds. Red's number one. This is the way I rank it: red 1, yellow 2, orange 3, pink 4. Almost inedible. To
me, red is 1, and 2 through 4 are interchangeable based on the day.
That's fine. I can accept that.
All right, that's the rankings. This is the full Rank Everything podcast.
By the way, actually, this was it. That it was that. When we were at spring training for the afternoon show, we interviewed Trey Turner. I read somewhere that Trey loves candy. So at the end of talking to him for 20 minutes about baseball, I asked him to rank the Starburst flavors. And fucking 40% of WIP listeners is like, what a fucking moron this guy is. Why is he talking to Trey Turner about candy? Like, there's so many. Why aren't you asking why he's bad at shortstop? Blah, 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 blah. Just wanted to ask him about candy. It's like everyone has an opinion on Starburst, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Rank your worst plays at shortstop.
Yeah.
Turner.
Yes. So that's actually a good transition to the conversation about Daryl Morey, because these conversations are always interesting to me. I am appreciative that Daryl does them for sure. And I think it is rare that a GM of his stature would come on the podcast as much as he does, which is essentially just talking, his opportunity to talk to diehards, which I think is very good. But these are always interesting because I feel like both he and we are in the situation in which if there are some questions we have to ask or people want us to ask that he cannot answer. And if we don't ask them, we're like, I get asked, why didn't you ask X? I'll give one example here. And then if we do ask them and he gives a predictable non-committal response is that he can't answer, we're like, well, why didn't you press him, or why didn't he answer honestly? So something like you have to ask him, and you did a good job of it. If somebody calls asking about to trade for Paul George or Joel Embiid, like, what do you say? Mm-hmm. Now, he can't say yes. And by the way, he's lied before. Like he said, we'd never trade Chris Paul. Then he traded Chris Paul. Like he said about Ben Simmons, so on and so forth. He can't answer that in a genuine way at this point. If the answer is yes, he can. And so I never know whether we should ask the questions we're never going to get a response to, or we shouldn't. I think every once in a while you get a response that surprises you, which is why I do it. But I feel like we can't press them on that stuff because, like, what are you going to get out of it? Is my response. And I've never talked to you about that, but that's what I was thinking about as it was happening.
Yeah, I think it's a good mix of questions that he can go into, and I think there were some humanizing answers that he gave.
Yes.
And sometimes he is more honest than I think he should be.
Yes.
And so I was like, I wonder what he's going to say about this. And he gave a pretty stock answer, which is reasonable, but I wanted to see if he said something interesting.
Yeah.
He didn't, but that's fine.
Yeah. I think he gets real comfortable with us, which is why we end up getting, maybe a little bit more out of him than some people might get. You know?
And I think I'm too comfortable with him.
Yes, I think so too.
Straight up.
Yeah.
But he keeps coming on, so I'm not going to change it. But no, I thought it was always a good conversation. You know, I think it does feel strange to have had as bad of a season as they've had, and to also be, you know, in a warped way optimistic for next year.
Yes.
Because again, like, you know, talent isn't the issue.
No.
And, you know, some guys can
It's
fill in the gaps.
availability after all this.
It is availability. I wouldn't say it's the best ability, but it is ability. It is an ability that I do think matters on some
maybe
level, and I always have.
Maybe it's going up the rankings slightly.
Yeah, to me, I've never been anti-availability. I've just the idea that it is the best ability simply because it rhymes, which it doesn't. It's just the same part of the word as a full word over and over again.
There is some irony. That's
sure,
all.
I'll take the irony. Yeah,
Comic
I'm fine
irony.
with that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to go through some things that I took away from that I thought were worth further discussing. And this isn't the first time he said this, but he has said it he said it in his post-season presser, and he said it to us, was that he made a mistake just thinking about the playoffs, and that he has to think more about the regular season, and that means getting younger and more athletic. And I had a couple of people ask me, well, how their what's it called? Their roster's pretty locked in. And I think there's maybe more flexibility there than some people think, and maybe not as much as some people would like. And this is leading to a question I have for you. So players who are locked in, Embiid, Maxey, George, McCain, Edwards, Bona, those guys are locked in. Mm-hmm. He suggested, and we would think he has a pretty good idea that these guys are opting in, that Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond, Kelly Oubre will all be back, right? And then he is talking as if Quentin Grimes is going to be on the Sixers. So he said that it felt like that was going to happen. And then the questions being, Yabusele is a question. Lowry, I know to your dismay, I think might be a question. I think it's possible he's back as well. I guess my question overall is, if we are just talking about Edwards as a regular rotation guy, Bona as the primary backup, and Quentin Grimes as a regular rotation guy, whether he's starting, and in that conversation, we'll get to that, he sort of assumed he started. Is that enough? Or is there even more that they have to do? They're basically playing with 5 roster spots if they keep all those guys we said.
Well, that's the thing, is I wouldn't assume that just because Eric Gordon and Andre Drummond opt in doesn't mean that they can't be
traded,
packaged together in a trade type of thing.
Tomorrow's maybe.
Well, hopefully they get a top 6 pick and that becomes part of the rotation.
Right.
And whoever Daryl allows me to draft at 35 will also be involved in some way at some point.
Yep.
And I would say, I think the issue, I think, is, it's Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond, Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon. All 4 of those guys that were on the roster at the beginning of last year are extremely one-dimensional at this point in their careers.
Also primary. Like we were going into the season thinking these guys are playing 25 minutes a game. Not just that they're on the roster, that they're not Reggie Jackson, but Eric Gordon, I think we all thought was going to play a lot. They became too important.
In the rotation, for sure. And I think, it's not just an age thing. Nick Batum is old, and he's incredible still, and versatile, and was really, really helpful on the Clippers this year. So I think it's just a matter of finding guys that are more dynamic players, and those 4 guys are not at this stage in their careers.
Right.
So I think, Reggie's obviously gone. If Kyle Lowry is one guy that stays, and you package Drummond and Gordon, then it's like, okay, fine. But I definitely don't want multiple of those. You just can't be wasting roster spots. And you saw this season of just got old guys being hurt, old guys being useless, not being able to be counted on for minutes when other guys do get injured. It wasn't great. So I think it's also important to note even though Caleb Martin, I believe, is a dynamic player, he's also a little bit more limited than Quentin Grimes is.
Yes.
And so I think that step will be helpful, especially because of how injured Caleb was and how limited he was as a shooter because of his shoulder and his release, which is getting worse and worse. But yeah, I think he's maybe tying everything or a lot of it to we just need to get younger and more dynamic and hold up for the playoffs. I do think also the organizational position for Joel and for the team was, hey, we just got to get to the playoffs. Let's get him healthy for the playoffs.
Right.
And that trickled down, I think, into everybody feeling, all right, this is a long 82-game preseason, and we'll start to take it seriously when we get to playoffs. And I understand that on some level, especially because of how the last several seasons have gone. But you can't just look at a 5 or 6 month schedule and go, these don't matter.
Well, yeah. I mean, teams in the finals, it's not like, this is not causation, it's correlation. You don't find teams in the finals that haven't won like 50-ish games.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. It's not like teams are sneaking into the play. It happens, but it's not like teams are sneaking into the playoffs and getting to the finals.
You just got to build good habits. You got to be able to build connectivity. And I didn't think that I didn't interpret that as Daryl was like, yeah, we were fine winning 44 games or something. I interpreted that as, we kind of just thought we would win 50 games in our sleep.
Right. Yes.
And it didn't happen. Didn't come close to happening.
Yeah.
But the thing I've been looking at, I'm not. I understand how you're trying to make me availability pilled.
I'm not.
I get that.
Well, it's. I'm not, but I mean.
No, it's worthwhile pointing out for sure.
Players got to play.
Not a ding. But the thing I am becoming pilled about is like motor pilled.
Oh yeah.
Which is just you watch how, and OKC lost last night, but like how all of their guys are playing so hard
all the time,
and just overwhelming you. Always first to the ball, always first to making the right cut as the defense is like lackadaisical in transition.
After a season, by the way, where they won like 68 games.
I know. I just want that. And that's partly why, like, I think McCain is like that. Even though he's not super athletic, I do think he plays with an incredibly high motor.
Maxey's like that.
Maxey's like that, but he did get a little bit over the last season. You could tell there was some more discontent, let's say.
Yeah.
And allowed that to like wear on his face as he started the season missing a lot of shots. I mean, Cooper Flagg would really change the culture in a way that I would very much like to see.
Yeah,
so I just want that across the board, to be able to be both high motor, which like Yabusele is, but also have the quick twitch athleticism to just be first to the ball and to be able to read it off the rim really quickly and those kinds of things. I just think those extra possessions over the course of a season, but also in the playoffs, are just so valuable and set the tone for how everybody should play. And you look at the Thunder with, Jalen Williams, Caruso, Chet, Casey Wallace, all those guys. The way they play is just so hard dort. And I would love for around Joel and Paul George, because it's unreasonable to expect that those guys are going to do it. But around Joel and Paul George, I want guys that play hard as shit. And that is I think would help impact the team positively going to next season.
Yeah. Get to one part of that after, who's got a high motor? LL Pavorsky.
Yeah, baby.
That guy is made of motor. Are you kidding me? That guy's was built to be a motor.
Motorhead.
A motorhead, some would say.
He's Motorhead.
Yeah, Motorhead. LL Pavorsky Jewelers, the very first sponsor of the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. Of course, the sponsor of the VIP section of Live Ricky Six and the Lottery Party. Everybody in the VIP, I haven't said what the VIP gift is, but everybody gets this bag and then a commemorative LL Pavorsky and Ricky sticker set. Everybody's always wanted us to do stickers, and we've never done them before. So
really, people have asked about stickers?
Like constantly. Yes. Why don't you guys sell stickers? I think people like them for laptops. That's what I like stickers for. But we have some Abbey art in there, some short. Anyway,
amazing.
What we should do for the VIPs next time is engagement rings in every bag. Engagement rings, LL Pavorsky engagement rings in every bag.
But you just have to use them like within like the first week. You have a week to decide who you propose to.
And if
you don't use them, you have to give it back.
Yep.
Or they disappear.
Yep. That's an easy way to get an LL Pavorsky engagement ring. The other way is, of course, to reach out to him. He has made over 440 Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners very happy with engagement rings. As we go on to 500, which is Mike's demand that we get to 500 Rights to Ricky Sanchez listeners who purchase engagement rings from Lee.
Enough already.
You're going to get, man, the experience, the fucking VIP experience you're going to get in there. You're going to get it at Live Ricky 6, but you're also going to get it at LL Pavorsky Jewelers. You're going to get one-on-one treatment. Everything is one-on-one. That's why everything is fucking appointment. So he can just take time with you. And you might think, that's a little weird. Maybe I don't want an appointment. But you got to have an appointment. And the first conversation could be over email. Lee@llpavorsky.com. Could be over phone. You can give him a call. 215-627-2252. You can tweet at him at @LLPavorsky. And have those initial conversations. So when you go in there for your appointment, he knows what you're looking for. And you can really focus on getting the exact right ring for the exact right price from the exact right guy. Always a supporter of our charities, rather. Providence Animal Center and Mama T's Community Fridge, LL Pavorsky Jewelers.
You like stickers? Stick that ring on your partner's finger.
There it is. There it is. I have the stickers over there. No, they're too far away. I was going to go get them. So the only thing to what you said, and this is just sort of is what it is like, you're like, I want players that grind and have high motors. However, our two best players, actually not those guys at all. They're never going to do it.
Yeah, that's
It's
one
tough.
question that I didn't ask, but we've talked about on the thing is on the podcast before is Paul George is just as far as spirit goes, as far as mentality goes, not the kind of player you would want to put next to Joel. I think skill set wise he absolutely is.
Yeah.
But as far as
He's not a motherfucker.
yeah, and you just kind of need someone to put Joel to help bolster Joel in that place, because Joel can. Everybody, I think, is sort of there's a possibility that they could dip. Their energy and effort can dip, and you just want a guy who is, and I think Cooper Flagg is this, like not will refuse to accept that. And Jimmy was that when he's engaged. When Jimmy's engaged, he's that.
Well, and by the way, this is not to excuse the fact that Embiid is not that, but it just is what it is. I mean, like at this point, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and there's not. I mean, I'm not saying there's a handful of stars in the league that are like that.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards. But there's a bunch that are gonna be, they're gonna get tired and exhausted, or just have a generally like play at their own pace type thing. But it's not just playing fast. I think it's sort of how you carry yourself. And Paul George doesn't carry himself like a motherfucker. And
No.
maybe he did when he was in Indiana, but it's been a long time.
It's been a while. Yeah, that stuff in Indiana is a long time ago. Yeah. So one thing he said, and speaking of Grimes, and I felt like he didn't account for the fact that I might ask about this when he said it, is he noted that Grimes and Maxey is a backcourt that can work defensively. Of course, noting that he talked about Maxey's improvement defensively. Yeah. And then I said, well,
which is maybe the best thing that happened all season. We've talked. No, I was gonna say Maxey's improvement defensively. Yeah.
And then I said, well, what about Maxey and McCain? And he paused and he said, well, it can, but really the answer is that it can't. And he sort of like danced around. And I'm not saying they can't be on the same team. That's not what I'm saying. But he sort of like danced around. Well, they don't have to start together. That McCain can play all the minutes that Maxey's not on the floor. But like, what is that? 12 minutes. So I guess just maybe they overlap for 6 minutes. I guess the only thing to think about moving forward is, I think we all, or at least I'll speak for myself. I watched Jared McCain at his best this year and thought to myself, oh my God, like this guy is so good that he could change the course of how good we are. Mm-hmm. But then you're thinking about him paired with Maxey and it doesn't quite work. And I guess the question just comes back to, how long can you actually have them on the floor together in a game? And is it more than 6 minutes? Is it more than 8 minutes? And then in the playoffs, that becomes even more exposed when teams are looking for that. So everybody's got to be healthy for this to be an issue. But even if they're not, and we're looking about the future, I think it's worthwhile to think about it as well.
Yeah, I just want to, even though I am somewhat skeptical, healthy skepticism, optimistic but skeptical that they can play together, especially in the regular season. I just don't want to rush it and make the decision before they have to.
Mm-hmm.
And so just on the Maxey McCain point, McCain needs to and will, like any rookie who played 1 year of college basketball, improve on defense. And he'll get there. I believe that. He will come to be an average guard defender. Maxey, I believe, has the potential, and we've seen, because he's longer, he's stronger, he's quicker, to be a slightly above average guard defender. Now they're both guard defenders, so that limits, as far as matchups go, who they can cover. But I just don't want to assume, hey, because it's not working right now, it's not going to work ever, and we got to move one of them right now. So I would just be a little bit more patient with those guys. And also I would say, and this is why I'm very much, if you get the second pick, absolutely draft Dylan Harper. Like, McCain being a sixth man for a year, 2 years, whatever, is just not a bad outcome. And you saw how necessary it is to have guys who can create advantages off the dribble. And both Maxey and McCain can do that. And if it gets to Dylan Harper with a second pick, then he can do that. And I just wouldn't rush to make a move before you see it and before you allow guys to get better. So yeah, it's not something that I'm not concerned about, but it's not something I'm also rushing to get out of right away.
I think that's fair. I think the real question is how much of what we saw at Jared McCain's best is accessible to him on a regular basis now. Like, when we saw him being awesome, like, is that flashes we're going to get for the first couple years, or is it who he can be quickly? I think if it's who he can be quickly, I'm not saying we have to make the decision now, but if it's who he can be quickly, then I think you have to figure it out a little bit better, because I think at his best, Daryl said it, he was rookie of the year favorite, which is, it's like, is insane. It's not something that we really thought was going to happen. So,
yeah, I would say that I would say it is important to figure out other stuff first. Like, having good players on your team and good players that can make decisions with the ball in their hands and score from at least 2 levels. Maxey can probably do 3. He's gotten good enough around the rim. McCain is not an above the rim player and struggles athletically there. That is the bigger issue, is like, what are we working with Joel? What are we working with Paul George? And I'm not gonna come down on one of those sides and trade away talent for something that fits better until I see, and maybe ever, but until I see for sure that, like, oh, this is working. And then here's what we need. And I think we'll have the dueling podcasts of if Embiid is healthy.
I was gonna say
after the lottery.
Yeah.
We will have more information, and then we'll do the podcast of if Embiid is healthy, here's what they should do, and then if Embiid is totally not healthy, here's what we should do.
Yep. So last thing on, as you brought it up on Embiid, I thought there were a couple of interesting things. Top line interesting thing. It's not surprising to me. I thought it was a little surprising to me that he said it. Is when you guys finally got through what you were asking about which by the way, I thought was relatively clear, but he got stuck on the fact that he didn't want to be aggregated into comparing Joel Embiid to Brook Lopez. Mm-hmm. Like he was very worried about that. Understandably, but the idea of Joel, like a lesser version of Joel, lesser version but effective version of Joel. And he essentially said, I know Joel. I've gotten to know Joel very well. If Joel can't be the Joel that we're expecting, there won't be any Joel at all. Yeah. And again, not surprising. I think if we were to bet, or if you were to ask both of us, we would say, hope that could be an idea, would not bet on that being an idea. But I thought it was absolutely notable and maybe a little strategic that Daryl doesn't want to be talking about a role player, Joel Embiid. But I thought it was notable that he said, like, I don't think we'll see him at all if he's not going to be him.
Yeah, I did think that was interesting, and maybe he just was quibbling with like the fact that it's Brook Lopez, who is such a role player,
Right.
versus what I was saying about like Tim Duncan in his 30s when he took a little bit of a step back, but was still Tim Duncan. And maybe if had I led with that, he would have said, "Yeah, that sounds great." But I do think, as far as understanding Joel's mindset, I get that it is. Every older player has to sort of throttle down and pick their spots a little bit more. And the idea that Joel would increase his percentage of attempts from three and let other people carry most of the load so that he can protect the rim and the defense can scheme around, which they do most of the time anyway, but scheme around not having him guard the perimeter, just being dropped, because he's when he's on, he's one of the best drop defenders in the league at deterring other teams' bigs. That starts to look like Brook Lopez, practically. But I think it is interesting and probably real, and to be honest, a little bit disappointing to not hear that, like, yeah, Joel is so skilled at these other things, and when he realizes or comes to accept that he can't carry an offensive load like that, even in the percentage of games he plays, then he's willing to do that. I think he thinks of himself as, I'm an MVP candidate, I'm one of the best players in the league, and unlike a lot of stars that are capable of transitioning their game as it gets later, it seems like Joel is like, at least per Daryl, I am who I am, and this is, if I can't do what I do anymore, I'm not going to be there.
Yep. And then I didn't really find anything he said about the handling of the knee to be surprising or interesting. I think, like, if you want to, you can take his concession of maybe we should have looked at the surgery thing a little bit sooner as an admission of guilt. I actually think it's more, he didn't say this to me, that this is just me like speculating. It's more just sort of him like superstar service, in that I think that's how Joel feels. And I think it's probably, and he said as much, that Joel felt that way earlier. So, yeah. But I also think he said and believed that they believed that the path they went was the right path, even though it didn't work.
Yeah. Yes. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. Yeah, he tried to be like, and Joel when he plays is still great. And I just wanted to make clear, like, that just wasn't the case last year.
Not this year. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, of course, Dowd's going to be optimistic. The question I was going to ask, which doesn't have an answer that he can also give or whatever, would be like, hey, you sound optimistic about Joel. Are you optimistic because of the medicals that you've seen and the way that he looks and feels? Or are you optimistic because you have to be because he's signed for several more years at an astronomical number?
Right. Yeah, I think it's probably the latter, but who knows? Like, part of me thinks they're so desperate for positive PR that they would be almost screaming from the rooftops that things were going well about Joel, and we haven't heard an update. It's been 6 weeks since he had his surgery.
Maybe. I mean, it's so early. It's still May. The playoffs are still happening. If things were going well in July, then that might be different. Okay. But if they were saying Joel's great, he's going to be great, I think everyone would be like, shut up.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point too. Yep. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Draftkings Sportsbook. We've said this a million times, man. How much fun are the NBA playoffs without the Sixers in them? So much fun. Is it a coincidence that this is the best NBA playoffs in like 20 years and the Sixers aren't in it? I don't know. It might be. But you can have fun with DraftKings Sportsbook. You can bet on specific players. I think so-and-so guy is going to score more than X points. You could same game parlay it. So-and-so guy going to score more than X points. This team's going to win. This guy's going to get more than 4 assists. Whatever. That is how you have a little fun with DraftKings Sportsbook. And you do it responsibly, right? How much can you lose? Just bet what you can afford to lose. We got this email, and I think he wanted to stay anonymous. He said, not sure if it's too late, but can we get a DraftKings fuck Daryl Morey prop and I love you Daryl Morey prop? The F Daryl Morey prop is the pick transfers to OKC parlayed with a Horford over 8 points that night. And the love you, Daryl prop, the pick stays with Philly and Horford under 8 points that night. Feel free to rename it. It would be a good prop to have the night of the lottery.
Yeah.
You know, it would be a good prop.
Everybody would have to smash the bad outcome.
Yes. Has to be an emotional hedge. Absolutely has to be an emotional hedge. That's what you do, DraftKings Sportsbook. If you're a new customer, you just use code RTRS. You bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly, which, if you play it right, can last you throughout the playoffs. Make a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code RTRS. That is code RTRS for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Got to be 21. See show notes for details.
Emotional hedge made me think of something. Mm-hmm. And I want CJ to pop up for this as well.
Oh, boy. There he is.
This obviously, it depends on everybody's financial situation, but how much would you pay for the Sixers to get the pick?
Now, okay. Can I be honest?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard for me if they get the pick, just the pick in general or the number one pick.
Well, I think let's say, how much would you pay for 3 through 6? How much would you pay for 2? And how much would you pay for 1?
So unfortunately, I do think we have a financial incentive.
I know that.
Right.
I know this.
And
yeah, I know.
not for the pod itself. The pod itself will make the money the pod makes. Merch, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's I'm just saying, when people are happy, they buy
try to take the
t-shirts.
podcast out of it. Try to not think about it.
Right. To get 3 through 6, I would pay $2,500.
Ooh, I like it. It's higher than I thought you would have said, so I'm happy about it. Okay, so that's 3 through 6.
Yeah.
It obviously depends on everybody's financial situation.
Yep.
And for 2?
I know you're going to say, this is just because I don't understand. 2 is the same as 3 through 6 to me.
I understand.
Yep.
Okay, that's fine for you.
1, I would pay $5,000.
$5,000 added to the Rigged Fund.
Yeah.
The Rigged Fund. We will crowdfund for Josh Harris.
Now, it's hard for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm taking the Ricky financial situation out of it, but I am thinking about the Ricky experience. And the Ricky experience would be a lot more fun with the pick. That's mostly what I'm thinking about. Is that this would be a lot more fun to do every week if we had that pick.
CJ, put some stacks of money on the table. How much you put in there?
Stacks of cash.
This is tough because I just moved. And
All right.
I did buy a motorcycle recently.
You did?
I did.
Wow.
Wow. You need to do the pod on the motorcycle one time. Can you bring it into this room?
Sure thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So funds are a little strapped right now, but I do believe in
You'd sell the motorcycle for a Cooper flag, though, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I can get another one. Can't get
How much was a
another
motorcycle?
Cooper
Can you say?
flag. It was around 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, that's a good motorcycle.
Yeah, all things considered. Entry level, nothing crazy. But
You get a Harley or one of those like one of the which one?
It's a Royal Enfield Meteor 350.
What's that? Is that like one of the
It's
fast
a cruiser.
ones? Okay.
It's not like a sport bike or anything.
Oh, so like Harley or whatever, like that style of bike.
Yeah, a little more not like Harleys are kind of like old guys bikes in the style. But
fuck them up, CJ.
Yeah.
With your young
No,
bike.
I'm just trying to differentiate between the guy dressed in all leather like he's in a 112 video going 125 miles an hour. And
I wasn't saying fuck you up. I was saying fuck
the handlebars
the
are
other
not
one.
like all the way like raised.
Okay.
Let's go.
Now, Mike, what
How much
are you
paying?
paying?
Well, I would also sell CJ's bike for Cooper flag, so let's
Yeah.
be clear about that. That's part of it. Man.
Is Mike gonna ask the question and then not answer it?
Well, I'm a little just scared of the answer. I think.
that it's more than
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I bet if you were alone and you were given the offer for number one and the offer was $10,000, I think you would pay it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Okay.
100%. Yeah. It
We could
depends how
use,
things. It depends how things are doing in my career. If I sell script and I'm on a show, then I'll get a little bit loose with that money. But I think the honest answer is it's over 10, and I have to I didn't think about the question until you talked about it with DraftKings, but I'd have to really do some introspection of how much I'm willing to contribute, and it's probably a lot.
Yep.
And that's probably upsetting for everybody.
If we could use pod money, I think that's a good investment.
I think so. It's an expense. It's a lobbying fund.
So, speaking of the lottery, lottery party and Live Ricky 6 is on Monday. If you haven't heard, by the way, and we'll say it again, we've tried to express this to everybody, 1 hour earlier than everything was planned. So doors are at 5, and the show officially starts at 6:30 with you and Professor Jack giving the tutorial. Then we'll have the human sacrifice. We'll have Tim Hawes doing Imagine the Process. Then we have the lottery, then Live Ricky 6.
If you factor in the podcast, I'd probably go to $25,000.
Oh my God, well, that's psychotic.
If you factor in the podcast, then that we'd make more. I think that is part of
But
the
we're not going
investment
to
part.
make. I'm gonna. Can I just like? I want to protect you from this. If you're given this the chance, we're not
Yeah.
going to make that much more money. Like our
No.
ads are still going to be the same price.
No, of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah.
But all told, and the enjoyment level of everything.
the enjoyment level would go
Yeah.
up. Yeah,
And because I'm going to go back on a show, yeah. I think Alyssa would object to that. I think she would. I think she's probably right. But 25 for Cooper Flag? Fucking, I mean, how much is he getting paid? How much did he get paid to go to Duke? How much are everybody
I
getting
think
paid
a few,
NIL?
A few million. Yeah, a few million.
So we all just chip in what we can.
Yep.
And then they rig it.
This is pro NIL or something.
100%.
So at the lottery party, there will be 1,200 ping pong balls with our logo and the Ethos Support logo on them. And before the actual show starts, or between 6:30 and 7, everyone who takes, and by the way, when you come in, just take one. Everyone will throw these at a sacrifice, a person who has volunteered to be sacrificed
Yeah.
for this. And we wanted, per you, little brother energy.
Yeah.
So, we were up to 9. We had a bunch more emails. I knew we wouldn't have time for it today, so I got us up to 14.
Great.
The only question I have, and we do have an alternate if you say no, but I want you to approve this. And he's not a little brother, but he is coming from Norway. So I'll read this to you. I have an alternate if this is a no. And we'll decide whether this guy who was going to be number 13, Eric from Norway. Hi, Spike, Mike, and CJ. I'd like to nominate myself as the human sacrifice for the lottery party. I'm not a little brother, but I do have older cousins, hoping that's good enough. This is my second trip to the U.S. this year to watch basketball. On the first trip in November, I saw 4 games. Maxey got injured in the first game and missed the rest. Embiid was suspended for the first 2 due to the Marcus Hayes situation and rested for the last one. The Sixers went 0-4. I was a bit disappointed after the trip, but luckily my friend and I had already booked a new trip in April and May to see the Sixers in the playoffs.
Hope you enjoyed it.
And before Mike says, why would you plan a trip when I should have known the season was already cursed? I'm in a gap year between gymnasium and university. I don't know
No idea what that could mean.
Yep. So these trips were already planned a long time ago. Fortunately, I've gotten to see some good teams play basketball over those 4 weeks. Anyway, Nothing has gone as planned for me of the Sixers this season. I've spent way too much money to see way too few Sixers games. So ending the season by having 1,200 ping pong balls thrown at me and hopefully getting a few wounds from my 10-hour flight back to Norway the next day feels like a fitting end, whether we keep the pick or not.
Absolutely.
He's in?
Especially if you're close to cousins. Little cousin energy is similar. So
Okay.
I'm good with it.
All right. So he is number 13.
Okay.
All right. So, and I did buy a giant face shield for the person to wear.
Great.
We don't know where they're going to be standing yet. So if you get chosen here, I will reach out to you via email. We'll get your information. I assume you have lottery party tickets, but if you don't, we'll make sure that you can get in and we'll tell you where to be and what to do. So, Mike, am I just picking the one in here and we're going, or do we want to test one for proof?
Are the balls sized according to lottery odds? Is that appropriate? Is it equivalent?
No, there's too many, man. I'm not doing it with. And just to prove to everyone, and if you're watching on like this doesn't count. This doesn't count. I'm just going to do it 3 times to show you they get a different one every time. That this isn't fixed.
Who would think that this would be fixed?
I don't know.
Fixed
Okay.
for.
So
I guess we should rig it. I guess we're sort of proposing
rigging things.
14.
Yeah. 14. So do it again. And these don't count, by the way.
Are any of the balls different textures?
No.
3. Okay.
And I'll do it one more time.
Here we go. 10.
10.
Okay.
So this is the official one. That's what
All
we're
right.
saying.
So should I read the names of 1 through 14?
Yes. And some
Okay.
of them we know the name because they nominated their little brother. But and you have that doc, right?
Yes, I have the doc. So number 1 is John.
Okay.
Number 2 is James.
Number 1 seed, by the way.
Yes, which doesn't mean anything, but
Yeah.
we did nominate him. Mark is 3. Body Bio Mike is 4.
Yep.
Andy 5. Ed's little brother, 6.
Yep.
Gustavo's brother-in-law, 7.
Yes.
8 is Rob's little brother. 9 is Kevin. 10 is Matt. 11 is Henry's younger brother, Patrick. 12 is Troy. 13 is Eric from Norway. And 14 is Frankie, who I'm seeing is a senior little brother.
He's 55.
He's 55.
Yep.
Which is, I'd say, not in the spirit of it, but I like it for mixing it up. So,
By the way, the end of his email was, I'll be there with my buddy Paul, who is also 50 plus, but is the eldest sibling in his family, so fuck him. Just let me know where to stand.
there we go. Okay. So this is it.
Yep.
The lottery for the lottery.
Yep.
This, whatever happens here, will directly impact both the ping pong balls and Adam Silver's psyche
Yeah.
of
And
whether we keep the pick.
just so you know, like if we don't get since we're doing this before the pick, if we don't get the pick, we really sacrifice you and you die.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when this is picked, I don't think we should tweet this out or post it until like tomorrow or something, so people can listen to it clean, so they don't know
I
who
think
it
that's
is.
fair. Yes.
And you obviously reach out to we'll communicate with them as to what's going to happen and where you
Yep.
should stand and everything.
This is so exciting, isn't it?
This is exciting.
All right. Are you
This
ready?
is exciting.
So no more tests, right? I'm just
No more
going in.
tests.
All right. I'm going, and as you can see, my eyes are shut,
Yes,
right?
Can
and
confirm.
I'm reaching in.
They're shut in a pretty cartoonish way.
Yeah. Well,
You can just shut it regular.
Really squeezing them shut.
He's
I
got
have
one.
A ball. I have a ball.
He has a ball.
And the ball number is number
3, which means the little brother is Mark.
Mark. And I'll read Mark's email, or would you
I
like
got
to
it.
read? Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
I too am a piece of shit little younger brother. When I was in middle school, my brother held my face against our tiled kitchen floor after I stole his Iverson jersey to look cool in front of my friends. So I reached for a knife on the counter and gave him a good poke on the hip. He was fine, bleeding some, but mostly just shocked that I stabbed him. And there's a lot of good stuff in here. I hit him in the head with a point of an iron after he let go of me. He gave me a full Nelson. Thought
you go.
both my arms were gonna pop out of their sockets. He was no angel. We're best friends. Oh, yes, this is this one. Wow.
Like so
This and then
exciting.
the older brother then passed away a month before the Kawhi shot
right.
game.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
And
smile there.
no, I mean it's a really touching email. We read it a
Yeah.
few weeks ago. And it's impossible to watch that Kawhi game, to think about the Kawhi game without surfacing the emotions that his brother had just passed away. And then he discovered the Ricky 6 months after that. He's a psycho for listening to every pod. And he often thinks, man, my brother would have loved you guys. This is really nice that it was Mark. It's strange to type this to a podcast, but it feels cathartic. You should know that listening to you guys all these years helped me heal from that loss, and now weirdly makes me feel closer to him. I always wanted to tell you guys that. I guess I just needed the right motivation. Thanks for being real, and please let me in the lottery party lottery. Well, Mark, you're in there, babe.
You're in. This
We
is
got
a good
him.
one. Good result. And I'm
Good
going
result.
to hold this. The rest of these balls will go into Gen Pop as a, so you might get the ball with a number on it. That might be a nice little collectible.
That'd be fun.
I'm going to keep number 3 to give to Mark. Here it is. The winning ball. Thank you, Ethos Support, for buying the balls, by the way.
Yes.
And there we go.
Let's go.
So we got a, speaking, last thing about Lottery Party, we got a voicemail. Speaking back to the Morey interview, he said, and I actually believe he was genuine, that he hoped doing this event might make it a little more likely that Gershon stays with the Sixers.
Yeah.
I do think, feeling the way that Gershon will feel, like he wants to get paid the most, but this is a pretty cool experience, I think, for a player, like a role player specifically, to be shown the love. So
I mean, he's getting paid for this event, so I think that
Yes.
helps circumvent cap rules, I think, in some way.
it's actually a good point. I mean, yes, he is getting paid for the event.
Yeah, if the Sixers
Absolutely.
wanted to donate $2 million under the table to us,
to pay him more.
we can
can funnel it through us.
can reroute 1.5 million of that
Sure.
to him
Yep.
and keep the rest as a sort of processing fee, I think.
Yes, absolutely. We did get this voicemail.
on the table.
We got this voicemail about that to 833 Lickface.
Spike, Mike, CJ, this is actually, please leave my name redacted. I would not like this idea traced back to me, but I do have an idea.
It's a
regarding
voicemail.
The lottery party. We know that one of the main goals of the lottery party and the podcast is going to be to try to convince Gershon Yabusele to re-sign with the 76ers this offseason. to shower him with love and appreciation for putting in this great effort on a truly terrible season for the 76ers. And I have an idea that effectuates that point to that end. We do have a song, a parody song that was created in honor of Gershon that was played a couple times during the podcast called Dancing Bear to the tune of Dancing Queen by ABBA. Do you think that it might be a good idea with Yabusele there to play this song for him? Could this be the thing that convinces him to stay in Philadelphia? Is it really your guys' duty to play this song for him, show the art to the subject of the art? Or is this just really embarrassing for everyone involved and a terrible idea? We'd love to know what you guys think.
And if you forget that voicemail, I actually just found the song, or if you forget the song, here it is. Friday night with the Sixers on, looking out for my boy Gershon. Hear that Sixers music, a win against the Kings. You are the dancing bear. And when you get the ball, you are the dancing bear, shooting threes ways to 70. Dancing bear, feel the D on the wings, oh yeah. You can go. He keeps going.
He keeps going.
You can shoot.
The pauses. He really is taking his time.
Yep. Well, he's timing it correctly. In the paint, Gershon, yeah, but dancing.
There it is again.
Yeah.
Gershon, yeah,
this is it. So, what do you think, Mike? Do you think we should play that for him?
Look, I am a big ABBA fan. I do think Dancing Queen is one of the worst ABBA songs.
Oh, that's such a hipster take from you.
No, I just think it's just overplayed.
It's
it
like
probably wouldn't be if I heard
fans
it.
that don't like Born in the USA or fucking Glory Days or something.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
I do think that there are so many better songs. But there's a chance that could have an adverse effect.
Yes. I mean, it's so weird.
There's a chance that as a French person, he might not like ABBA or have strong anti-ABBA takes.
Really? Are
I don't know.
French people anti-Swedish?
I don't know. I'm just
or-
not going to assume. I'm not going to assume that they don't. There's some French in ABBA's repertoire.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's. I don't know enough to know.
Okay.
And I definitely don't want to have him sit there through that. He might leave. He should leave.
You never would 1 minute and 16 seconds feel longer
The
than
longest
playing
ones.
that entire.
Yeah.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast brought to you by Big Barker Therapeutic Dog Beds. Oh man, started getting some what's it called? Process Pups in again, dude. We got the littlest, tiniest one. You go to bigbarker.com/Ricky, bigbarker.com/Ricky. You get the Big Barker bed that your dog is going to be healthy and happy on for years and years, 10 years at least. Foam doesn't flatten it, they replace it for free. And you get your dog to be a Process Pup. So we got Julian. Rob, his dad, says, just wanted to send over a picture of the newest Process Pup. He's Julian, a 10-year-old long-haired Chihuahua that my girlfriend and I recently got from an animal rescue. As soon as we got him, I knew exactly what he would be sleeping on. Thank you for all you do. I'll see you at the lottery party. If you want to see Julian, looks almost like a fucking stuffed animal. Doesn't even look like a real dog. But it is proof, by the way, that this is for little dogs as well. The thing with Big Barker, and the reason that we advocate for it as a pro-dog podcast, is that it keeps your dogs healthier. And your dog's joints are important, and what you sleep on is important, and what your dog sleeps on is important. If your dog is sleeping on a cheap bed, then as your dog gets older, the effects of arthritis, the effects of aging, they're going to be even worse. I want you to think about when you sleep on a bad bed. And when you sleep on a good bed, you know, I'm sleeping on a good bed now. Now I'm almost at 50, and look at me, I'm standing up straight. It's great. Get your dog a real bed. get your dog a Big Barker, engineered by experts, proven by a Penn vet study. Again, bigbarker.com/Ricky. You get not only this bed that is going to keep your dog healthy, you're going to get 2 Process Pup patches, you're going to get some stickers, you're going to send us a picture of your dog, and your dog is a official Process Pup. And as Julian shows, it could be a little tiny dog, could be a giant dog. I even slept on a Big Barker one night at the shelter. I felt great. There is a 10-year warranty. The foam doesn't flatten or they replace it for free. A 1-year at-home trial. If you don't like it, they'll give you a full refund. They'll even pay for the shipping. It's handmade in the USA. Big Barker Dog Beds. And, actually one more thing on the lottery. I thought this was a good question from Michael. Rights to Ricky Sanchez @gmail.com. Is this the most important lottery since the beginning of the podcast? Obviously, in the drafts that we ended up getting Embiid, Ben, Okafor, Fultz, our odds of getting the number 1 pick were considerably higher, but no one in those drafts had the franchise-changing trajectory of Cooper Flag, and we were in no danger of losing those picks. Even if this year's pick ends up out of the top 3, it gives the Sixers some trade flexibility and some hope regardless of Embiid's future. What do you think? The most important lottery that we've had in the time of the podcast?
I think by so far, it is all other lotteries should be forgotten about entirely. This is the last chance. This is like you're falling into an abyss and there's like one branch that you're like, if I just grab this one branch, I will survive. And you have a 65% chance of grabbing the branch and you need to grab it. Otherwise it's abyss. It's abyss for all of us. So yes, not even close. Yes. The fact that they could lose it, the fact that it's years after the last time they were in the lottery, the fact that so many things have gone wrong, that when Joel is older and it's not even close. There's not even anything that's close. This is
No, this is all with the what's it called?
Benefit of hindsight.
Benefit of hindsight. Those were all very important too.
I'm not saying. Look, they're all important. We got the picks did swap.
Yep.
We got number 1.
Yep.
At Xfinity Live.
Yep.
I grease on my back.
Yep.
But now, looking at the full thing, like this could save the entire era in more ways. Like that,
you're a little older now. Are you going to be able to handle an Ike Reese on your back at this age? Yes.
Yeah.
You sure? Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Also, the fact that we're not on like a ledge.
Yes.
I think we'll be a little more safe as well.
Yep. So NBA playoffs continue without us. Knicks a 2-0 lead on the Boston Celtics.
Hell yeah.
Did you bet on the Knicks, or did you just? Oh, you did.
I did bet on the Knicks. Yeah.
Okay. So Knicks.
Those odds were just crazy. Like there was unbelievably ridiculous odds. That
amazingly, the Celtics are still the favorite to win the series, just barely, but they are minus 120 favorites.
Yeah. I was ready to go the other way and hedge back,
it.
and they're still so confident. So
yeah, it's hard to pinpoint. I will say this, and I know this is a very me thing to say, and I don't know if you'll agree with it or not, but when Jason Tatum got the ball with 12 seconds left, he was stiff. Like, he looked like he was dribbling in a way where he didn't want to lose the ball. And I almost think, you think to yourself, okay, he's going to go to a signature move, right? And a signature move is step back. And I wonder if it went through his head, people are all on me for just taking step backs. The step back was there for him to take. And it just ended up with like the worst decision ever. It just looked like such in his head. Even where he dribbled the ball in, Mikal Bridges made a good play, but he dribbled the ball into OG and Mikal Bridges. Like
into the corner, yeah.
Yeah, like it just like, I was not surprised that the first game happened. I was surprised that the second game happened. I still think there's a total possibility that the Celtics win the series. I mean, if they shoot well, they're a very hard team to beat. But your thoughts on the series overall?
I mean, I'm enjoying it. Fun to see the Celtics blow 2 massive leads.
Yep.
I would also say Tatum to support your or another counterpoint to that he's thinking about it. He did just blow by Mitchell Robinson for a dunk. In the possession before, which happened like in sort of an instant. So maybe he was just feeling good on the drive and wasn't feeling a step back as much, but he definitely looked indecisive.
Yeah.
And I would also, at least for this series, I was going to start talking about Oklahoma City, but at least for this series, totally a chance that Boston still comes back to win. Obviously, they're going to shoot better. But it is, I think, as Daryl would tell you, or at least Daryl's experience would tell you, with the Rockets missing 1,000 threes against the Warriors, there is a compounding effect to missing shots when nobody's hitting and like people not shooting it with confidence. That piles up. And so I think on some level, that it all evens out in the end. But in a short series, little bursts of indecisiveness and lack of confidence as you continue to do the same thing over and over again, which is like shoot a fuckload of threes, I think can really make a difference. And I think you're seeing that so far, not to say that they can't get hot and that can be turned around. But no, I'm whoa, Spike gone? Am I gone?
Spike gone.
Spike just left. I've never seen myself so big in the frame. That was shocking.
Here, I think his camera turned off.
Wow. He just
Spike?
disappeared.
If you hear me, switch to your laptop webcam.
Look at this.
We're at an hour.
I can't see him in the preview because
He's in the stream with audio only.
Wow. Because I'm not logged in on my laptop.
Oh yeah.
This is wow, look at this. Yes. Tom. CJ, listen to Tom in the chat.
What did Tom say? Quick, go to circle boxes.
Do it. Do it. Make it happen.
Bang. Here we are.
Here
Giving
we
the people
go.
what they want.
You want circles, we got circles.
He's in.
He's back. Nope.
Not fully.
No audio yet.
Spike did what he was texting me this morning about completing his setup as he just moved, and I assume something like that.
You got it. You got to move. House is cursed. Change it up.
Hello?
Get out of there.
Spike's picture is back. Sorry for the live audience. This won't be in the actual pod.
It won't?
So a little behind the curtains. Sneak
Damn.
peek here.
Wow, just for the live folks. I'm really finding myself enjoying myself in this circle. Usually I have the problems and it's Spike that has the problems.
A lot of flexibility. A lot of people forget about the
squares.
squares. Everyone's forgetting about the squares.
I just love how little it uses the rest of the frame.
Yeah.
It just little rocks in the background.
Yeah. We also can't really like move them out of like the set boxes that they have. But oh well.
How about now?
There you go.
Your mic is your webcam right now.
How about
Beautiful
now?
Stuff.
There we go.
There it is.
I for the tech geeks out there, I went to move my hub, my USB hub, and the power cord was too sensitive and everything turned off, and then everything turned back on.
Never move your hub during a podcast.
Don't move
Rule
your
number
hub.
1.
I'm sorry I have this new setup and I'm very happy and it's much cleaner. I don't even know what we're talking about. Oh, we're talking about the Celtics and the Knicks.
I am definitely wanting the Knicks to win. I know you feel differently, but I definitely want the Knicks to beat the Celtics.
If you live closer to New York, you wouldn't feel that way. Yeah.
I hate the Celtics and I wish they were dead. So I feel very strongly that I'm happy to see them lose in any opportunity.
Yeah, my position is this on that is that the Celtics have already won.
I understand that.
Them winning again doesn't change me at all. And also, I don't really encounter too many Celtics fans. We used to. I don't anymore. Knicks fans, this is my last, and I'm not trying to convince you, is just my message to the people, is that the Knicks, we never feel the full power of New York sports fans like being excited at once because the town is split on all the other teams. When the Giants are good, it's only half the town. When the Yankees are good or Mets good, it's only half the town. The Yankees, the Knicks are the one team that everybody likes. And if they fucking win this series, it's going to be the most insufferable thing you've ever experienced. I'm just warning everyone. And I understand Villanova. They still went to Villanova even if they lost. You can still be happy for them even if they lost. They're not on Villanova anymore. They're on the
be happy for them if they lost.
Yes, it just that they're having good careers. Like they're not on Villanova anymore. Get
Sure.
over it. Whatever.
You are looking at it like from a very Knicks fans versus Celtics fans point of view,
Yes.
which I understand from where you come from.
Yeah.
For me, I hate the Celtics.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I hate the Celtics as an organization and as an idea.
As a staff, record label, and as a motherfucking crew, you hate them.
All of it.
Okay.
So I would like to see them fail. And also there's I saw this article, how bad it is to be a Celtics fan in New York. You won the championship last year. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Go into hiding.
Yeah, and by the way, but how about we bring up how many times you love listening to this podcast when we fail, and now you're complaining about being in New York.
Crazy.
Right.
Anyway, I hate the Celtics. I want to see their demise. So I am absolutely rooting for the Knicks. I don't like the Knicks. I hate the Celtics. And that is where it goes for me.
Okay, that is fair. I didn't watch Nuggets Thunder last night. Are you surprised Nuggets are up 2-1?
I mean, it's been a great series. It's been very interesting. The fact that the Nuggets won while Jokic shot as bad as he did. The rest of the team shot very well. The rest of the team shot 6. Jokic was 0 for 10 from 3. The rest of the team was 16 for 30. And the Thunder couldn't hit anything. But I was a little dismayed by how ISO heavy the fourth quarter and overtime became for the Thunder. It seemed like they, unlike Boston, sort of the option of it, Boston kept, hey, we're going to keep generating good shots, and if they miss, we're going to keep shooting them. It seemed like the Thunder got a little bit in their head by the fact that they were missing threes, and it became so isolation heavy. I've never seen SGA, who's one of my favorite players in the league, I've never seen him look like he was forcing it as much as he was last night. And good job for Christian Brown, bumping him off his spot and being physical with him and not give him any easy looks. But yeah, I mean, the Thunder were just, I think they'll clean that up. I think Dagnall's a good coach and they're too smart not to, but I think it did feel like this team is young moment for a team that I did think was going to cruise in the series. I still think they'll win the series, but yeah, I mean, Jamal Murray in the playoffs is incredible. MPJ is playing really hard despite his shoulder injury and hitting a ton of shots. Aaron Gordon is incredible. He's been having a wonderful playoffs. Good for him. I would say I'm surprised at up 2-1, but I still feel confident that the Thunder are going to win the series.
Okay. And then Wolves Warriors tied 1-1.
Oh, and sorry, I tweeted this, but Isaiah Hartenstein, who shot 1,000% against the Sixers last year in the playoffs, missing floater after floater, push shot after push shot.
Yeah.
He airballed one, and I was like, this is so offensive to me that this is happening after a guy I like, nothing against him, but he just absolutely crushed the Sixers over and over again, floater over Embiid every single time. And he just missing badly last night, and I feel personally offended by it.
Well, that's
how it goes.
But when, what's his name? Fucking Fred VanVleet missed every shot against us and we still lost.
That's true.
So
that's true.
We were always going to lose.
Every
single time. Anything else we need to get to? I don't think so.
I'm enjoying. I'm just enjoying the playoffs. I like playoff basketball, and once again, I've said this every podcast, but I love that the Sixers aren't in it. This is a necessary break.
Yes.
And if you don't want to watch the playoffs, I totally understand. That's totally fine. You're not doing anything wrong. But you're also enjoy that you're off. You're off from work right now. The Sixers are, for better or for worse, work.
Yep.
For all of us.
It's a vacation.
So you're on vacation. This is total vacation, no responsibility, out of office email. See you in September.
I know you're not a huge voicemail guy, but this guy's dismay for how he's getting treated at work, I think, is something that you will enjoy. And also as somebody who doesn't like talking about the Sixers in public, with regular people, you will enjoy this. To 833 Lickface. Oh man, give it up. I fucking suck. Hang on, because I lost everything. Is this even worth it? Maybe, maybe not. Hang on. Connect to the Roadcaster. There we go. There we go. Okay, try this one more time. Unbelievable.
Spike, Mike, CJ, Jeff from Dunmore. Interesting story from work today. I was on a meeting with my supervisor, and we don't talk much of anything really besides work. I know he has a dog. I know he has a fiance, and I know he likes to hike. Other than that, I couldn't tell you really anything. So we're on our call, and he doesn't start with a comment about work. He says, hey, I know you're an Eagles and a Phillies fan because you're always wearing Eagles and Phillies hats, but do you watch the Sixers? And I was like, unfortunately. And he said, okay, well, can you explain to me then what the hell your GM was thinking signing Paul George to a max contract last offseason? And I was like, oh, are you a Sixers fan? He's like, no, I'm a Knicks fan. But I heard a rumor that Paul George was going to be signed by the Knicks. And I was out of my mind because I was like, who would sign this guy? And then your team did. And I was like, yeah. And so I tried to change the subject and was like, well, what about Brunson's game last night? Nope. This guy didn't want to talk about anything related to the game. I don't even think he watched the game, to be honest with you. He just wanted to talk about Daryl Morey, how he has not been fired, what good does he do, and how he said to me at the end, man, you must really hate that you have to root for that team. And I was like, yeah, dude. And that took up 20 of our 30 minutes. I realized this story was way too long, but anyway, I don't even know if I have a question. I guess that's just the end.
I've been there, man.
Yeah, it's the worst.
It's tough.
And it's not even a Sixers fan doing this to him. It's a Knicks fan doing it to him.
No, yeah. I mostly don't want to talk to people about this kind of thing. It is, yeah, when you're just like, I'm trying to give you social cues that I don't want to talk about this.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm annoyed that I have to, but also you're my boss.
I have
so I'm sort of just trying to do I'm pretty good at the, like, I'm in a conversation that I don't want to be in, and I'm good at the, like, exit line. Being like,
Yes.
well, that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
And then you're just
I'm
you're out of there.
Yeah.
Like, but it's hard when it's a boss type figure.
Yeah.
And but no, you got to be better at reading when people don't want to have the conversation you're having with them. Don't force them to explain Daryl Morey signing Paul George to you. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and then you get into, you know what it is like you get into the, yeah, I get it, but, you know, you have to start defending this fucking move that looks moronic at this point. You know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you on Monday as we all live or die.
It's got to happen. It just has to happen. It must happen.
Well,
the pick must remain in Philadelphia. I will not let it go.
Mike O'Connor let me know that Monday is the 6-year anniversary of the Kawhi shot.
We knew that.
Yeah. So is that a good thing?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We could take it to be a good thing. Sure. Let's try. It's gotta stay. All right, let me do one last tankathon.
Okay.
One last tankathon.
All
Here
right.
we go. Sim lottery. 3, 2, 1. We got the number 1 pick.
Ah, there
I swear
it
to
is.
I swear to God.
There it is.
Unbelievable.
I wish you could show. You can't show.
Sixers, Hornets, Jazz, Pelicans.
Wow.
Guys, I did it one time.
I just want to keep the pick or get to the commercial. I don't want to get
Every time.
I
Gotta
don't
get
wanna
the commercial.
yeah.
Gotta keep it. We're not letting it go. I'll see you guys Monday.
We will
Let's go.
see you Monday. Are you down with TTP?
You know, like face.